Crypto prices have been wild in the last couple of months, and it's not in a good way, right? We obviously expected the 2025 run to start off great. We looked at, November prices, December prices. Donald Trump obviously was fully in office by January, and it has been a game, especially in our altcoins, who can stomach the most blows. It's almost like we're in a fight here, and it's like who cannot bleed out the fastest, because we are seeing red across the market, and we're seeing a lot of red in some of our speculative altcoins, and we're going to talk about that going forward. But this is really just the case in many, I don't like using the word inexperienced investors, because, you have to get in when you can get in. But if I experienced this in the last bull run, and we did experience this in kind of May, June times when cryptocurrency would literally dip 50%, and that was just on Bitcoin, and most of the other altcoins would go way down further, and it's just given a lot of investors to almost give up in this crypto dream. And I think that's almost very sad, because ultimately I'm making this video because I do think the bull run is still on. And I don't want a lot of people to be shaken out, but I also don't want a lot of people to be like, take my advice and then maybe for some foreseeable future that the bull run doesn't actually happen. But I'm really making this video on some points and facts that I can see, just to kind of bring a little bit of like motivation to the market, because I still think we're on plain sailing. But I do think there is more storms across April to come. Because I want you to realize, if you are selling and you believe in a 2025 run, I can ultimately say you're probably making the biggest mistake of your lifetime if you believe in a 2025 bull run, because why else would you sell? It doesn't make any sense. If you think the cycle's over, absolutely, you should sell. But if you believe in a 2025 bull run that we're going to talk about in this video, you're probably making the biggest mistake in your life, and it's going to hurt you by the end of the cycle. Because if we just look at Bitcoin on TradingView, I've always said as long as we stay above this 50-week moving average, we'll be fine, right? Historically, we have done that. We can wick that like we have done previously. We've wicked it 5-6 times in this cycle. That's fine. But historically, Bitcoin prices follow a 3 kind of up to down pattern, if that makes sense. Historically, we had kind of like one push after the C19, second kind of big push here, and then obviously we had the big kind of third push. And it's kind of been the same. The 2017 is a little bit different. You had some big pushes, some big reds. It's almost like 4 or 5. But historically, we usually expect, kind of 3 to 4 to 5 upward pushes, and then obviously big bear market, and obviously 2013, 2014, after the 2013 bull run, big bear market. And I still think we're plain sailing, because every 4 years, as we know, crypto prices plunge in the bear market. And the last time we seen this was obviously 2022. And then markets recover slowly, while the biggest gains are being given to us in years 2 and 3. And ultimately how that looks in a nutshell, here's another way to look at the 4-year cycle in this chart. We're in what historically has been the best time to be risk on crypto, the sweet spot, if you like. Now, yes, we've kind of missed the initial phase, but the last part of the phase is usually historically the kind of blow off top crypto prices run, especially in our altcoins. So in my opinion, again, I'm going to keep stressing this, but I'm going to give you some more facts on what I'm personally doing in the bull run. This is the time to be all in crypto if you believe in the 4-year cycle. And I can't stress that enough. If you don't believe in 4-year cycle, you have my blessings to sell, if that makes sense, because ultimately you don't believe in something, right? But you definitely shouldn't come back and buy in the tops. That is one of the biggest lessons that many people regretted in 2021. Because if you think the 4-year cycle is a myth, I want you to have a look at this chart. This is from Glassnode, right? So the current bull market, the black line that we're in right now, pretty much has mirrored the previous 2 cycles, okay? Now, I'm going to ask you, would this be happening if the 4-year cycle was dead? In my opinion, no. You can see the green line, which was pretty much the 2021 cycle, and you can see the blue line, which was obviously the 2017 cycle. Now, obviously, as we know, this is on Bitcoin's chart, so you might be thinking, well, the gains are minimated. Yes, they are gains are minimated in Bitcoin, right? Because Bitcoin, as we know, the current time recording is like 80, 82K, whatever it's at right now. That's not the most important thing, because we make most of our money in the altcoins, but we have to understand that Bitcoin is not going to give us the tremendous returns anymore, simply because of the market cap. But ultimately, what I'm saying is, on this chart, if you believe in the 4-year cycle, we are on track, potentially, after this month, to realize the next phase of the bull run. And based on what I'm seeing in the market, Bitcoin still peaks around October to December 2025. And then obviously our altcoins, they run alongside that. And we had some phases of that. Like I said, when Donald Trump won the election, and obviously before that, kind of after 2023, we've had these initial momentums, but we have to understand that it's never going to be plain sailing. So I want to ask you guys a question. The question that everybody needs to know the answer to is obviously how high Bitcoin can go. Because once we know that, it's ultimately very easy to look at when to sell. But the problem with how high Bitcoin can go is, I'm going to tell you the real with you, nobody fucking knows. I've seen price predictions crazy, $1 million. I've seen $1 million in 2021. I've seen 100K in 2021. And obviously these were far short. I've seen the same thing this bull run with $1 million, 500K, 250K. Ultimately, I think, and I've always said, Bitcoin peaks around 125 to 150K. Okay, realistically, if we're being honest, if we have a blow off top with Bitcoin, a crazy, crazy cycle, you might peak towards $200,000. But if you're playing that game, it's almost like playing 2021 and hoping for 100K. You know, it's much better to start layering out before that. But here's what I do know. Trump has won the election, okay? Very, very self-explanatory. That was obviously in November. And he's obviously in office, and obviously since he's came in office, it's been a little bit of a whoopsie-doopsie. But his administration is the most pro-crypto administration that we've ever had in a bull run. Because crypto will finally become free from regulatory handcuffs, which is obviously good. And that means crypto projects, crypto developers can come into cryptocurrency at the time of recording. It's come almost like the perfect storm without the fear of getting sued. You know, XRP had to go in this massive lawsuit. They finally won. Their coin got super suppressed. And what happened after that? Once it was plain sailing, XRP literally 67x after everything was clear. Because as we know, we had this at the start of March, and you might be thinking, well, this is great news, Jake. Why hasn't crypto started to go yet? And it's simply because there's so much liquidations in the market. There's so much manipulation. But this is just one of the first things of great signs to come, because Trump obviously announced at the start of March that the strategic reserve, okay, for the USA will hold Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and ADA. And we're talking hundreds of billions of dollars of fresh money being unleashed into the crypto market. And you have to think, what can that do to some of these coins? It gets a little bit crazy. So this keeps me bullish when times are tough. Because in my opinion, with the 2025 bull run next wave lining up, potentially at the end of April, May, a lot of guys are saying April is going to be very bearish. It's kind of going to be like the lowest bottoms and then we're off to the races. Again, I'm not too sure. But what I can tell you is news like this, with a bull run, it only leads to one way. And in my opinion, this is a perfect recipe for having historically a great bull run. Because you can also look at a chart like this, and this is basically the crypto market cycles Bitcoin performance over time. Now, during the euphoria phase, which is what we're kind of looking at, okay, after kind of April, May, June time, this is one of the best times to be accumulating altcoins, or really you should be accumulating altcoins before that to really be holding altcoins. But historically, Bitcoin is one of the worst assets, especially inside cryptocurrency, to hold, because alts start to outperform that. Now, that doesn't mean Bitcoin doesn't go up. Bitcoin will still go up. But this is when you get the altcoin mania phase, and then everything starts to go. And how this really looks is you can look at the start of this cycle, right? Bitcoin's obviously did super, super well, right? And you made a fuck ton of money, and you still will make a fuck ton of money if we get that 2025 bull run in Bitcoin. But if we're looking at realistically prices of 125, 150, maybe 200K absolute maximum, I really don't think it's much possible after that, just with the market cap. But you never know. You can see what happened when Bitcoin started to move. Many coins across the market, Solana, just literally going absolute crazy. Bitcoin cannot pull a 10x this cycle, but Solana's done more than that, especially at the prices of around $300 before the big whoopsie-doopsie that we're experiencing right now. And then you can look at coins like Render, okay? Solid project, low market cap when it started to run. It outperformed Bitcoin. So it's all about looking at your portfolio, understanding where you are, understanding how risky you want to be in some of these altcoins, and then rounding that up for a 2025 bull run. I'm not against Bitcoin. I have Bitcoin. I'm not against Ethereum, although Ethereum has been lackluster. I do think, on a side note, Ethereum is almost becoming one of the best risk/rewards for this bull run. Under $2,000. It's absolutely crazy. It will go, in my opinion. Now, again, euphoria phase is when altcoin seasons begin. Bitcoin leads the charge, okay, that we've seen many times. Big money flows to Bitcoin, pushing it to new all-time highs, and then money starts to rotate, okay? That's when you really get the altcoin season that we're really looking for. And the last phase of the alt season is, for example, if you look at Ethereum, it outperformed Bitcoin by an 8-1 in the last run. And many altcoins obviously did way better than this. But it doesn't mean I wouldn't touch them all, okay? So this cycle, what I will tell you, and a lot of YouTubers are saying this cycle is, in my opinion, we have way too many coins coming to the market. There's so many meme coins and new categories, AI agents, and RWA and DeepIn, etc. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing, but in my opinion, this is when you really need to be locked into your crypto portfolio, and you really need to understand that quality will beat quantity for this bull run. In the last bull run, everything pretty much went, and I still think that's possible for this bull run, but there's many, many more rugs across this cycle, and not many altcoins, especially low market cap ones, will get a big blow off top. I think many of them are going to rug, and they already have rugged, like Pump.fund and all these other websites. There's so many rugs on there right now. Doesn't mean you can't speculate with 5%, 10% maximum of your portfolio. But I really think this cycle is about quality over quantity for this bull run. and finding coins with great use cases that are low enough market cap to ultimately get you rich. Because I can give you 2 tweets here. I really like these tweets real quick before we get into the meat and potatoes of this video. Is when I was in school, you probably had the same scenario. Like, I didn't grow up looking to be a cleaner, a shelf stacker, working my day job in an office, hating my life, and just being a paper hand pansy, and just being a little, I don't want to use the word bitch, but a little B to my boss. I didn't dream about that. But a lot of us after high school, college, etc., that's where we are right now. I didn't look up to be a security guard, taxi driver. There's nothing wrong with this, getting your income up. But a lot of us invested in cryptocurrency because the real world got fucking difficult. Food, rent, car bills, electricity got too fucking expensive. And these jobs, in my opinion, simply don't let you meet ends meet, okay? Especially if you want to travel the world, go on some holidays with your wives, etc., and have kids. It's super fucking difficult because we all had big dreams, okay, when we were in high school, primary school. But the world caught up to us and things got so fucking expensive and our dollar value, our GBP value is constantly going down to inflation. And that's what happens in life. And that's probably why you started in cryptocurrency. Again, there's nothing wrong with these jobs, but you probably want to get out of this job or at least make yourself feel more free where there's not so much stress and debt going around the market. And he posted this other tweet, and I do believe this. I would stretch the time horizon a little bit, but he said in 3 months, I would say 69 months to the peak of the run, your life can completely change you, or it can change you for the worst. You should go ghost. You should cut out some of your friends that are going out drinking. You should cut out all the fried food, all the sugar that's really wrecking your body. You should delete TikTok, Instagram Reels. You should stop smoking, drinking, vaping. You should sleep more, hit the gym, and you should lock in on cryptocurrency and stack money when you can to deploy. Because if you can do this, you can completely change your life, in my opinion. This bull run can completely change your life in the good, or it can completely change your life for the worse. In the last bull run completely changed my life for the worse. But I got to experience the good, but I just didn't know how to take profits. And I witnessed that, and that's what got me investing heavily again in 22 and 23, because I seen the money on paper. I seen how crazy a bull run can change your life. And it's that simple. If you don't like this, cryptocurrency isn't for you. If you've sold thinking the bull run isn't going to come, that's fine. But what's the other option? If you've got a little bit fearful, but you still think there's a potential of a cryptocurrency bull run, you should lock in my opinion. Not financial advice, it's spiritual advice. But you should lock in, because what other option have we got? We're not going to win the lottery. We're not going to find a random stock. You chose cryptocurrency for a reason, and times will get difficult. But this is when you are rewarded for the volatility. Or you should go and buy the S&P 500 and make your 10%. But if you understand the maths, it's not going to get you out of the job unless you have thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. And if you want to retire by 65, that's great. But for me, that wasn't the journey. We are blessed with cryptocurrency for the good or for the worse. It just comes down to how hard or how far you can stomach volatility to ultimately go up to the next phase. Because again, you just look at all the facts I've gave you previously. All the bull runs align. But in the bull runs, there's many manipulations. There's a lot of pain, and you have to stomach the blows for you to see the other side. And if you can't handle that, that's fine. But if you can handle that, and you can close down your laptop, close down your portfolio, you can make it this bull run. And again, going back to solid altcoins in this example, I really want to touch on this because I think this is so important. A lot of people don't know what they don't know, especially in altcoins. For example, if you look at XRP, okay, it was getting sued. Many people got bored of the 40 to 45 to 50 to 60 cents. It wasn't doing anything for years, right? And it's the same thing on HBAR. This is a perfect example for me. I believed in HBAR, did well in the last bull run, obviously got wrecked because I didn't take profits, but I came back into this coin and just knowing what I know about this project, I just did all the hard work. And it did nothing. In fact, it went consistently down for years and years and years. And I could have sold, but I ultimately knew that this was going to be one of my biggest altcoins for this bag. And when it pumped, it ultimately came true. And it's the same with XRP holders winning in the lawsuit. This coin could go absolutely crazy. I've seen some crazy price predictions. But knowing what these guys do behind the team and all the money flow that's going to come into this, you were rewarded. But a lot of people almost got bored, or they also seen coins like Donald Trump coin, Melania coin do super well for like one day. They sold their solid positions. They bought the peaks or bought even early, but now they're back to square one. And again, the message of this video is quality altcoins will beat quantity. Sure, you can have that 5 to 10% in these kind of allocations, but if you're selling your strong projects just because you're getting bored or just because you can't take it anymore and then you're buying this, you're constantly going to lose money. And that's just playing cryptocurrency backwards. So again, I do think this bull run is still going to be on play. There's many facts, but there's also many pains that we're going to have to stomach a little bit more. But if you do want to see some solid projects that I'm investing to for this bull run, and I'm already starting to stack up a little bit more, I made this video here the other day. I think it's super, super valuable. If you're looking at more solid projects that I am going to be buying heavily if we get this April dip. But these are just 5 examples of coins I really like, especially if we can get them on dip. I think these coins are going to be absolute great, solid projects to hold. And again, I'll leave a little link on the screen right now if you're going to want to check this out, because maybe you're looking at new altcoins to invest. I think this video will completely change your output and ultimately give you some more stability in your portfolio, because again, I know a lot of people that have sold their solid projects, and I do not want anybody to do that just to chase some hype. There, again, these projects should do super well at prices like this. It's an absolute no-brainer if you're still in this bull run. These projects are getting so effing cheap, and ultimately, I think if we do get this bull run like we expect with a 4-year cycle,